Hi, I'm Doug Eberhardt. Welcome to My Old Car. You know, every old car has a story, and each week we're going to reminisce with a different car owner, find out why their car is so special to them, and the best part, see if we can bring it back to life.
I'm Joe, and this is My Old Car.
I'm Kerry Cargill. This is My Old Car.
Now, to get the story of this old car, we have its owner, Kerry Cargill. Hi, Kerry.
Hi, Doug. Good morning.
Good morning. Tell us about this baby.
Well, this is a 1968 Firebird, 400, 4-speed, positive traction, and in its day, it was king of the road.
Now, do you ever take it for a spin anymore? It looks like it has a little rust to it.
Yeah, it's really gone downhill, and it does not run and drive. I haven't cranked it over in 15 years.
But in its day, probably pretty spiffy.
Oh, it looked really sharp. It turned heads. And I do have some photographs from the old days. Would you like to see them?
Sure.
Let's take a look.
Okay. Now, Kerry, not too many 18-year-olds get brand new cars, but you did.
Yeah, it just so happened to coincide. My dad sold his business in late '67, and he was flush with cash. And he came up with the idea, how would you boys, there was 2 brothers and me, 3 boys, how would you 3 boys like brand new Firebird apiece? And we all went, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So he went down to the local Pontiac dealer and he just said, give me 3 Firebirds. These boys will tell you what colors.
Do your brothers still have theirs?
Out of the 3 Firebirds we had brand new in 1968, I'm the only brother who still has his.
Now, you've had this car for about 35 years. Did you once even think about selling it?
I was only about 12 years old. I put it in the paper for $1,000. I got 1 call. Skinny little girl came out to look at it. I just looked at her. I said, darling, this is not the car for you. This is a race car. I looked at her skinny little legs. She couldn't even push the clutch. I said, she brought a friend who wanted to drive it for her. So we took it around the block. He wound out the gears a little too high, too often. I said, pal, pull it over. I drove home. I told him to get off my property and not come back. And I never thought about selling it again. When I saw somebody else driving my car, it did not feel right. So, no sale.
Let's look to the future. The Firebird is fully restored. It's just the way you want it. Where's the first place you're going to take it?
I would take my fixed-up Firebird to my high school reunion that's coming up. And if the people there would see me drive up in my Firebird from the old days, like they remembered it, they would just fall about the place. They wouldn't believe it. And that would be a thrill for me to just blow their minds by showing up in a beautiful Firebird, not a wreck like this.
Now, this car's been sitting out in your yard for a while. Why have you waited until now to have it restored?
It's getting to the point, if I don't do something now, there won't be anything left. I get in it, the floorboards are rusted, and I feel like they're going to go through. There's rust on all the sheet metal. If I don't do something now, I'm going to lose it. I don't want to lose it.
Well, we're now set for the restoration process to begin, and first stop is Pepe's Automotive here in Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania. With us now, the chief mechanic of Pepe's, Mike Miali. Hi, Mike.
How you doing?
How you doing? And Kerry is back with us again, and Kerry would like to see this Firebird become drivable again. So what's the first thing you notice as you look at it?
I can tell right now you have some rug hanging out of the floor, which means holes in the floor. Yeah, it's going to take some doing to get it even running. Got to lube up the cylinders from sitting all the years, so you don't snap a ring when you initially crank it. Crank it over by hand. And then we'll check your carburetor, get the old gas out, get fresh gas in, and make sure nothing's seized up on the carburetor. And then we'll get a battery in it, and we'll see if it cranks over.
Good deal, man.
Yeah.
Sooner the better. I like
the sound everything goes smooth.
Okay.
We shall see, gentlemen. Well, when My Old Car returns, we're going to get this Firebird into a bay and try to get it up and running.
Do another one, Mike.
We're back here at Pepe's where a few weeks back, Kerry brought his Firebird in here. Now, since then, the guys have been working under the hood to try to get this engine started. Let's see what happens.
Ready?
It's got to be an encouraging sign.
Yeah, it's starting, but I think you have a fuel pump problem now. And probably had to replace that to really get it running. And the tune-up. But all in all, the engine sounds pretty good. I mean, for sitting for 20 years or whatever the case was, it sounds good. It's nice and solid.
Is this thing close to passing inspection?
You got a long way to go for that. You got to get your brakes working. You got to check for all the rot. The brake lines could be rotted. Tires. Long way to go. But the good thing is the engine sounds good.
So we've only just begun.
Yes.
Can it return to its glory days?
It sure can. Parts are still available. You can get them through aftermarket companies. And with the time and a little love, you can get this back to original condition.
How much money?
Yeah, I couldn't even begin to tell you.
He's going to need his checkbook.
Yes, big fat checkbook.
Now, Kerry's lucky. He doesn't need a new engine. But if he did, Recon Automotive would be the place to get it.
I'm here at Recon headquarters, where they have over 400,000 square feet of manufacturing space. Recon has any type of engine for any type of car or truck. Let's check it out.
Our oldest engine is like a 1949 International, and our newest engine is a 2002 Subaru. So we have everything in between. We have marine, high performance, and some classics. Recon remanufactures anywhere from 200 to 250 engines a day. So that comes out to about 50,000 a year.
A Recon remanufactured engine starts with a core. Every part of the core is taken apart and separately cleaned and checked for defects. All the surfaces are machined to perfection. There are quality inspections at all stations. Nothing is overlooked. Then only the highest quality remanufactured parts are assembled to recreate the performance of the original.
The block, the head, the crank are all remanufactured. Everything else is new, such as the pistons, the piston rings, the lifters, the gaskets, and all the bearings.
By the time the engine gets to final testing, it's like new.
All the engines are precision machined back to OEM specs.
Basically, any old motor that you have, antique and all, we can do. I grew up with these engines. 8BAs, 8RTs, 292, 312 Thunderbirds, and Cadillacs. And it's been a lot of fun for me, and I know the engine real well. And when I get one to put together, it brings back good memories, and we have a lot of fun putting them together.
If you want to breathe new life into that classic car, why not do it with a remanufactured engine? We can have the same engine back into your original car.
This is like the greatest part hospital ever for your classic car. If you want to hear that hum and purr that came with the original machine, then Recon can bring new life into your engine, your car, and your driving experience.
Well, we heard from the folks at Pepe's about what's up with the engine, but what about the rest of the car? That's why we're here at Mike's Automotive in Chichester, Pennsylvania. Now, the naked eye saw a lot of rust, so the folks here at Mike's wanted to take a closer look to determine the extent of the damage and to see if Kerry will be able to show off his Firebird at his high school reunion. Mike, when you were assessing the damage of the Firebird, what were the first things you noticed?
In looking at every panel, all but the rear body panel has to be replaced. The bumpers front and back, everything from the taillights up to the grill looks savable.
Doesn't look like it can be saved, but I suppose it can.
Yes, it can be saved. It's just a matter of time and money, and where do you start and what do you do? Replace or finish or rechrome from front to back. Simply put, we can put some large number estimates on it, 25,000 to 35,000. It's an open ticket item.
So is this bad news for Kerry, who is the car owner?
Seems that way. Seems that way. It just needs, the car is probably beyond repair financially.
Is there any good news?
Yes, the good news is every part on that vehicle can be purchased aftermarket. Every part from the front bumper back to the taillights. If he chose to put the money in the car, it could be done.
Let's say Kerry has decided to put out the money, he's going to write you a check. Where do you begin?
Total disassembly. Take the car down, all the bolted parts and pieces come off the car. Taking the front frame section off the car, the engine out. Engine would have to be sent out and be rebuilt. While the engine's being rebuilt, we work on the frame, work on the chassis. More than likely, we'd reupholster the interior and go through each door panel one at a time to see if it was repairable or need to be replaced. If money's not an object, within 6 weeks, we can have the vehicle back into a realistic condition, looking like maybe ready for paint or close to ready for paint.
Will this thing ever pass inspection?
Well, yeah, certainly. Once we get it to where we need to be, it'll certainly pass inspection. Safety inspection and emissions also.
That's a lot of dollars and a lot of time down the road.
That is correct.
So as we just learned, there's good news and there's bad news. The good news, the car can be saved. The bad news, Mr. Kerry Cargill waited too long to take action. So if you own a car that you think might be a classic someday, what should you do? Well, our expert says that's simple. Keep it in a garage. Keep it dry. After all, moisture is the enemy. There it is. Mike, when you were assessing the damage of the Firebird, what were the first things you noticed?
Looks great.
From front to back. Simply put, we could put some large number estimates on it, 25,000 to 35,000.
Ouch.
An open ticket item.
Bad news for Kerry, who's the car owner?
Seems that way.
Kerry, what do you think about what Mike just told you there?
I kind of knew that it was coming. It doesn't surprise me, though, and I was kind of half prepared for the bad news. It's bad to hear a pro say it in plain language, though. I didn't have garages to put it in. I would have liked to have taken care of it, but it really didn't suit my lifestyle to take care of it. Am I bummed? You're darn right I'm bummed.
Okay, Kerry, what are you going to do?
Well, the numbers he was talking about were just too big. I'm going to get a roof over it, keep it dry like the man said, but I'm not going to let it rust away. We're going to come up with something for that car.
According to Mike, you've got 3 options. Is there something else perhaps available to you?
Pepe had mentioned maybe I could get a clean body somewhere. Maybe an option is to get a clean body, put my goodies on it, 400 engine, positive traction, Hurst 4-speed. I guess a first step would be find an antique car club. These are people who've been through this sort of thing before, and use them as a resource. Let them help me find that body that I need.
So as you've seen, Kerry's received word that his car will be very expensive to fix. And right now, he doesn't have the money to move ahead. One thing he does plan, however, is to contact a classic automobile club to explore other options. If you've got a car that you think might be a classic and you don't want it to end up like Kerry's, you should consider contacting a classic automobile club as well.